Next, anger, frustration, despair and some support. We've had a huge response from you on East West Rail after last night's programme focused on the proposed line linking Oxford to Cambridge. Here are the stops, upgrades for Bedford and Bletchley with new stations near Sandy and in Camborne. But it's the route the new line will take that has caused so much consternation. So here it is, a map produced by the company itself. The shaded area showing trains travelling northeast from Bedford to Camborne and then south into Cambridge. Now, plenty of questions from people living in those affected areas. More on that in a moment. But first, more of your stories. The Bedfordshire couple worried about losing their forever home. But we start with the impact on the Cambridgeshire countryside.
I'm Peter Wedd and I'm standing next to the tower that I've built beside the A10 on the southern edge of Harston to represent the embankment that's proposed to carry the new East-West Rail. The lower portion of the tower to the first set of banners represents the top of the railway line, and the top of the flag is supposed to be the top of a train. The impact it'll have on the landscape is frankly devastating. We're going to see this embankment enclosing the southern edges of Harston. The proposal by East-West Rail to put diesel engines on it is only going to aggravate the situation. The pollution levels in Harston is already pretty appalling, and we're only going to add to it by running diesel trains on this massive embankment. This area to me is extremely special. I've lived here for 30 years. We have made it what it is. I'm not just worried about myself, I'm worried about our children and our children's children. They're not going to have the wonderful countryside to enjoy that we have enjoyed over the 30 years. My message to East-West Rail is really what it says on the banner: there is a better way.
I'm Alex and this is my husband Ian. We're in our home, Rose Cottage in Wilden. We've been here now for almost 16 years. We're incredibly happy here. This was always bought with our retirement in mind, and we hoped we would be here really for the rest of our lives.
The general view at this time is that this place will be knocked down as part of the construction, because fairly obviously you can't build a 13-metre deep cutting, which is what the plan shows for just the other side of that fence, and without building very large piles of dirt and soil which would have to go where this property currently is. So we're going to get kicked out of our house.
If we lose our home, it really destroys all the plans we ever had for our future. I was very ill about a year ago and it's had a very big impact on my life. It isn't just us either, it's the village, it's the environment in which we live. The thought of just having to move away from my home makes us both very emotional and very sad, because this is never what we wanted, and we have such an amazing community here that it will just be devastating to lose that.
Well, that emotion shared by many of you. Emails started coming in during last night's programme. They are still flooding in despite the boss of East-West Rail pledging to listen to your concerns. Well, Theo Chikomba has been going through some of the messages we've been getting, and Theo, a massive response.
Yes, to say the least, it's been a huge response over the last 24 hours since the special programme featuring the Chief Executive Simon Blanchflower last night from the East-West Rail Company. Many of you have been getting in touch, talking about some of your concerns about your houses, your concerns about your community, and how much this project will cost overall. But first, this question from David Costella from Bedfordshire.
So our question to East-West Rail is, how do you propose to prevent the cutting in half of our village of Lidlington?
Now, some of your other questions, this one from Carrie Scott. She says, will there be enough passengers to warrant a disruption to homes, environment, people in the future, with working at home becoming the new normal? Now, we've already seen a domino effect of companies saying they're going to continue working from home for now, and some giving some dates for later in the year to return back to the office. Now, this one also from Ian Cook, who says, will levelboarding at stations along the route be implemented for disabled passengers. Now, we've heard from campaigners in the past who say existing stations don't have enough infrastructure for disabled passengers. Will this new route include those? Sarah Williams in Woburn Sands says, why is closing Station Road level crossing being considered? She believes it will destroy Eastwick Farm, 178 allotments, green spaces which are already below the average. And finally, this from James Perry, who says, what is the technical justification to support having a 4-track system? Shouldn't a simpler solution be considered? Now, all of these things are being looked at the moment in the consultation, which finishes on Wednesday next week. And between then, we'll look forward to hear from some of those questions and more which we have put forward to East West Rail. And then just finally, some comments that we've also received from Deirdre Higgins, who says Route E was the most expensive option before the consultation ended, and after the consultation, Route E became the cheapest and it was therefore chosen as the preferred route. She says East West Rail have never satisfactorily explained how this could have happened. Andrew Smith says, thank you for getting the voices of those who weren't asked to consult and who are being ignored out in the open. And Amber Fensham Smith says she is keen to know why a full and fair environmental assessment of all alignment options was not carried out in 2019. Now, just to say thank you for all of your messages. We will continue to cover this story over the next few days. You can get in touch at look.east@bbc.co.uk. And just finally, looking forward to Monday, BBC Radio Cambridgeshire will be continuing this coverage with MPs, residents and more during the breakfast and mid-morning show with Dottie and Jeremy. You can get in touch with their team at cams@bbc.co.uk. But as we say, we've had so many messages. We've gone through every single one of them, and we promise we will continue to do that. So please don't hesitate to get in touch.
Yeah, clearly struck a nerve. Theo Chikomba there, thank you very much. Now, still to come on Look East, capturing the beauty of nature, why photographers are being urged to head to Cambridge's Botanic Garden.